Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. So, should we start by just hearing how did the homework go for you guys?
Yep.
Just talking to you.
Difficult, or
Like at this part, I just don't get it. I need to actually put some effort into it.
okay?
What was the subject again on the homework?
There was the challenge.
It was the GitHub part, right? Get some data from GitHub and make search API and stuff like that.
And click on the button and get the data from the name.
Okay, yes. So normally we don't, or I usually don't go through the homework, but what I'll do is I'll post one of the former solutions for the homework. I'll post that when we are done today. But then you can kind of look through that and see if that makes sense. But if you don't have any specific questions, I think we'll just start by teaching today's topics.
Doesn't have specific questions.
The homework I actually worked on works, but the problem is the way we did in the class. I work on it. It shows exactly the same thing. I understand what is happening there, but it doesn't really work.
Okay.
I found a difference, about calling, API, requesting the server to give you a response from what you're asking for. We did it in two ways,
Okay.
The first one with fetching, do fetch, and the other one by, creating the XHR
XML HTTP request. Okay.
But
yes.
the difference, on the URL, it doesn't work in the other one, and I don't know if they need the how do you call it, the parameter and the path on the URL to give you the, or every kind of URL. It doesn't matter.
We'll go through how to fetch some data from the API, and if you're kind of in doubt if there's something wrong with the URL, you can always just go to the URL, just put it in Chrome and see what it gives you.
Yeah,
if it gives you some kind of JSON data where you can, then you know at least the URL is working. Then it's just about getting it into JavaScript.
Yeah, but definitely it does, because when you fetch, in the old method, by the fetch method, it give you, you have to parse the JSON and do everything that you have to do, even in the new, fetching with the creating a new HTTP request server, but the problem is in the URL. I don't know, probably the URL needs more, the path of the URL has to be changed. Has to have how they call it, the
query parameter,
the address, and the path of the. So you know what I'm saying.
I think
after,
I know what you're saying.
The question mark. And
the query parameters.
I don't know if it's different. It's a different request, because I tried both of them, but then I figured out, probably better if I take this one, because in your assignment there was an exercise that asking you, when you get the name, you need a callback in your function, on a parameter in your callback, and it goes to the URL. Okay?
Yes.
So we take you from the name, the API on the redirected name. But the problem is, if I do it with the other way, in the other URL, the old URL that we have used with the fetch, it doesn't work. That's the problem. So
okay. I don't know exactly how to kind of answer your question, but when we go to the homework for this week, I'll try and go through what we're supposed to do. So hopefully we'll kind of get all the confusion cleared out a little bit. And we'll go through fetching data using the fetch API today, and you won't be using the XML HTTP request anymore. We'll only use the fetch API. Okay, and we'll do some both exercises and everything with that today. So Yes, hopefully we get everything cleared out before you go home with the homework. Okay? But today we're going to be talking about another array function called reduce. We're going to be talking about what they call arrow functions, and a bit about kind of what makes JavaScript a functional programming language. And then if there's time, and depending how we do, we'll look into promises, which you have been using, but you haven't really understood it yet. You have just kind of used it, but you don't really get the concepts totally yet. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna start out with talking about a new array function called reduce. It's kind of similar to the other ones that you know from before, called map and filter, but this one can do a lot more stuff. You can make it do the same as them, but it can do a lot of other stuff also. So it's very, yeah, I don't know what to call it, but it's like, it's super powerful. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And it works in the same way that you can give it a function will work on every single index in an array. So for example, here we have an array of people. So the function will be called on every single index, like map and filter. So I think quickly I'll just show map and filter again, so we can remember it. So yeah, sorry.
We can see here. Can you take it a little bigger?
Oh yeah, of course. So that's a good idea.
You have been working with filter and array, right? Or filter and map, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
For each filter.
Yes.
So say for example, I would like to filter this array, and I would only like to get the people who are underage. Okay? So as you can see from this array, we have some people. We have a guy called Oliver who's only 12 years old. Christopher's 17. Sorry?
Where is that?
Bad?
Yes, that.
Oh,
bad.
he's not in this array. We only put
Not
important people
underage.
in this one.
I'm older than all of them. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, we're missing one person.
That's better, yeah. Yeah, now that you should do that.
Right, this. And he's 99. Right. So now we have a lot of nice people, and we would like to maybe retrieve all the underage people. Okay, so let's say we make
before you get there's commas after every movement, but in the last two days.
right, that's a mistake. Boom. And right, there's no comma after the last one because
It's the last one.
that's last one. I think I can actually put it and it won't complain, but we don't need it.
It doesn't.
So if we want all the people who are underage, we would like to get all the people whose age is less than 18. Right. So
Youth?
sorry?
Youth?
Youth?
Yeah, youth.
Youth?
Youth? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Youth.
Ah, okay.
Youth.
Yes.
Yeah, youth. We got
I thought I was speaking Chinese. How do you pronounce this?
Okay, underage people. Do you know which array function we can use to?
You can use map.
Yeah, I would use filter. Let's use filter. And filter takes one parameter, which is what?
What is that?
So this function called filter, it takes one parameter. We'll give it something. What is it that we need to give it? Ooh, yeah, it's a function.
Awesome.
We make a function. Okay, so now we have a function. And the function gets called on every single index in this array. So it will be called on this index and this index, so for every person. So the function receives all of these indexes, which means it also takes a parameter, which is the index. So we would like to say it's only one person. So I'll just call the variable person. You can call it anything, but it's in this case it's a person, right? So
is it necessary to give the name to this function? Yes.
No. So right now the function doesn't have a name, and I'm not sure if you can actually write a
But
name.
You
why
can
you
actually,
don't
yeah,
use
if you want to,
the
but-
you know just parentheses
No,
and
it doesn't.
But we're gonna talk about that
Okay.
when I get into arrow functions.
Okay, yeah. So here I'm just putting the function directly inside. You can also put the function up here. Is that what you're talking about?
No, you're talking about arrow functions, right?
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But you,
I'm
We'll-
gonna use the old way, and then
Okay.
we'll
And then
uh,
I'll do the
yeah.
new way.
So everyone, so everyone knows the syntax, I guess. So this function gets one parameter, which is each index. So we call this function on every single index of the array. And then the filter function checks. You give it a condition, so whether or not to save this index in the array. So it can either be you make a check on each index to see if it's true or false, right? So what can we check here?
if a person dot age,
No return. Equals dot
or you want to
age.
check all age,
So why is it person and not people?
Because now the person
that you
is
call in
the every
Yeah.
object.
So this person represents every index in the array.
Yeah.
So for every index, we would like to check if the age is less than 18, right?
Yeah.
So now age less than 18 can either return true or false.
Yeah.
If it's less than, it's true. If it's bigger, then it's false. And if it's true, it will add the index to this new array
Yeah.
that we called underage people. So underage people will be a new array.
So you console it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what we get.
You need. Okay.
So we have 3 people here: Oliver, Christopher, and Abid. All the kids. Right? That's great. Okay, we can also do something else. The other one that you mentioned is called map, right? Let's see. So filter will return a part of the array that we give it based on some condition. Here the condition was whether or not they're underage. Map will return the entire array, but it will change it, right?
So the
You
same length.
can change it if you want.
Yeah.
You can map it to something else. So for each instance here, we can change the object to a different object. We can remove stuff. We can add stuff. So one thing that we could do was we would like to remove the age. We're only interested in the name, maybe. Ages or names. Let's do names. And then we call the function on the people array. And the function is called map. And map also takes one parameter, which is a function again. And this function will be called again on every single instance of the array. So, whoops. Okay, and again, the parameter that this function takes is again every item in the array, and we'll call it the person again. Okay, so for every index, or for every, so this is an array of objects, right? So for every object we get, we would like to only return the name, right? So boom, boom.
You
That's the
need
name.
to give a new
Yes.
Give it a what?
I forgot. Sorry.
Okay. Is does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now what will be the output now?
You console it.
Yeah,
No,
but you have to tell me before.
All the names.
It's a test. You tell me and then I show you. And then we see if you're right.
All the name. You will return you.
All the names, but how?
Array of names.
Array of names? Will it be like here, except it doesn't have age, or
Yeah, I guess so.
you
If you
sure?
just call the name, maybe.
So here it's gonna.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
map give you a new array.
Yeah.
The new array will get only the name. So but
Mhm.
every index, because we are calling a new function on it. So
I think we just give you an object.
an object of
Name.
names.
Doesn't
So with-
necessarily
No,
change
no.
everything that you have.
we are just calling a function on an array, and you create you another array.
Yeah,
So it will
which
be
is
an array.
names. Oh shit.
Of
that
names.
will be-
So there's exactly.
And so the new array is called names, right?
Yeah.
This is the one. And then we put new indexed or new like items in the array for every, which is what is returned here.
Yeah.
And here we just return name, which is actually only this part, the string. It's not the object with a string. So I think we'll get an array of just like string, comma, string, comma, string of names.
Yes, like
I
that.
think so. Yeah. So if you wanted it to be still like an array of objects, we'd have to create new objects like this. Sorry,
Because
here.
we are asking to give us the how they call it, the item in the key that is named.
Yeah.
We're not asking to give us the key as well.
Yeah. So now
we're
we're
just
creating.
asking
Yeah,
to
that's
give us
exactly.
person
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So it doesn't.
So now I'm creating it again. So I'm saying now we're making an
Yeah.
object with a key,
Yeah.
and then the value from that. Oh, this is no, that's sugar, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Boom. Right. So now we changed the array of objects. So that's map and filter. Okay. So now the new one. Reduce. Are you ready? Do you have any questions for this before I move on?
I was just wondering.
Sorry.
I still don't get it.
Okay. Did you say parameter?
You can just make the name instead of parameter of the function person.
Here?
That could be anything.
Yeah, so we can just change like, yeah, you can go like,
So there's no need to kind of like define them.
no, so this is what we choose to call. So imagine you have a function.
So that's where all the thing is saved after.
It's like, I didn't quite understand what you just said now.
And maybe
That's-
like function,
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
This?
So that's where all the results will be saved, or no? It's just a name. Oh yeah, this is
Let's
it.
call it so now we call this function, before the function didn't have a name.
Mm.
I'm just doing this to make it more clear, I hope.
Yeah.
And then we would like to call this name function in here.
Mm.
And then
It's the same thing.
this is the same, exactly the same thing, I hope.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't have a parenthesis? No.
So here it will automatically, so map will give the function a parameter. And then because we said our function called name function needs to have a parameter, which is called just, it will it will take it what is given. So yeah, map gives us this parameter every time. It calls this function like 6 times, and for every time it calls it, it gives us the parameter. First time the parameter is this, next time it's this, third time this, and we just choose. We say our function name function says, okay, whatever you give me, map, whatever the variable you give me, I choose to call it just. And then we say, okay, because we know that this variable is an object that has name and age, we can say, okay, so this variable we get, we would like to take the name, which is this.
Oh.
Alright,
Now I get it.
that's sweet.
So inside of this map function, this function is actually called with each index of the array. So it kind of takes this function and then it calls it inside of itself.
No, I understand. I was just wondering putting that. Yeah, thanks.
Sweet. That's good. Because we need to understand this in order for us to understand the next thing. So, any more questions? Anything? Okay. Let's look at reduce. So basically, reduce is a function like this, except the parameter that it takes is so. Okay. Let's try. Say we would like to add all the ages of these 6 people, add them up to see what the total sum is. How old everyone is together.
The sum?
Yeah, the sum of all the ages. Say I want to do that. That's a simple example.
There are different ways. I mean,
Yeah,
if I
you don't
to
have
do
to
it,
use reduce, but you can do it anyways. How would you do it? Yeah.
If I have to do it, I will you know, take all the ages along, you know, like map them, you know, and take them, and then do the sum for everyone, return the sum. So I put I create a variable and I sum them for everyone new added to the sum, like doing you know, I++, you know, for example.
Let's do that.
Or do for each, you know, map for each.
Yeah, you can also do that. Let's do it with a for loop. Okay.
I prefer for loop.
Yeah. Then we can see the difference and compare. Boom, boom, boom. Then what do I write now?
I left them
people. We would like to. So we already have the array of ages, right?
Yeah.
Do we not? No, we changed it. Let's change it for. We have names. Okay, let's make a one with. We can use map again, right? Yeah, like you said. And then we return the age, right? So what happened?
I mean, the 4 is not.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have anything.
Great. So now we have an array of ages. And so we say ages. Until. Oh yeah, this is working until I++. Yeah. And then what do we do?
Then we will take the age I. You will create a const variable.
Out here?
Sum. No, inside the 4. Sum plus equal. Ages I. And then you for outside the 4 you call the console the sum. I think.
Let's see.
We shouldn't write return before the let.
This means that we return to nowhere because we're not saving it anywhere. I think the problem is that we need to have this outside.
Oh,
right?
declare the
now
because
equals 0.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's inside.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't have
Access to inside of the.
Yeah. It doesn't have a start, and every time this line is called
to something that doesn't have any value before, so
that shouldn't in theory be a problem.
What, sorry?
You can put value to something that doesn't have any value.
Yeah, that's
fine. It gives you 0 as a value.
It should be. I think it's undefined.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I think that should actually work.
So if you say undefined plus 1 is 1. So that's not a
okay.
problem.
Okay.
But the problem is that if we say let in here, it means we create a new variable called sum every time.
Every time, yeah.
And we
That's
override
right,
it.
that's
It
right.
doesn't really work.
And also, out here, as you said, we cannot access this
It doesn't exist out there.
because what you
Because-
learned last
because
time.
Is the local inside that.
Exactly,
But-
because of scopes.
But if we do this, will it work?
Yes.
It's a bar.
Oh, then, but this is still a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Every time we create
Then you would need to
No,
do some.
in
Yeah,
last-
exactly.
last-
Plus,
plus some.
I think that I don't know. Might not work.
That works. Oh, wait, except
It's
it
not.
doesn't work. Okay, whatever. Let's not do that.
I think they fixed this bug in the JavaScript. You know, you cannot access inside of the Java.
I think it's a
inside the
feature.
core.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. With let and some, or let and const, it's a feature. They're differently scoped than bars.
No, but shouldn't you be able to? No, that's something else. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know actually. Okay. Let's see if this works. Woo! Okay, that's work. That's great. Okay, we can now also do this in a different way now. Whoa. What happened? What is this? If we want to do, so this is pretty simple, and then reduce is not the best example for this, but it will work. So we'll show a different way to do it now with reduce. If you have something really complex, then reduce can be super powerful. Here it's pretty simple. It's not like you will have a better life after this. So let's make another one called reduce sum. Or just call it sum again. No, reduce sum. Or total age. Total age. And again, it's a function that we call on our array people. And reduce also takes a function like all the other ones, and again this function is called on every single person, so every index. Oops. Okay. But this function that you need to provide to reduce is a bit different than the other functions. The other functions only took one parameter, which was the current index, like the value of the index. So they took, this person, this object, this object, this object. Reduce actually takes 4 parameters. In this example, we'll only use 2, the first 2. And it's actually only the first one that you have to give. And the first one is the value that the previous function returned. Actually, I'm gonna drag the function out, like we did up here with the name function. I'm gonna define the function out here. I hope this will make it more simple. Okay, let's use this instead. Okay, so now we're calling reduce with this function, reduce total age. And this is the function that takes 4 parameters. Parameter number 1 is so you remember that a function can either return like void, which is like nothing, and it can return like a bunch of values, stuff. So the first parameter that this function takes is what was previously returned from okay. So the function is called 6 times, 1 for every name. So one for each of these. And then after the function is called, it returns something. That value which is returned will be the parameter that this one takes as number 1.
So in the first time it gets 12, yes?
Oh yeah, so the first time it will either take, so we have to tell it what to take the first time.
Yes.
Yeah. And which is what leaves us to, actually, so reduce takes 2 things. I guess I should say that, but reduce takes the, yeah, of course, reduce takes the function that we want to call for every single instance, which is this function,
What we
reduce
want to
to
do with
total
that
age,
function.
and, sorry?
And what we want to do with that function.
And the first returned, so since when we call it, the first time we call the function, it won't have the return value of the previous, because nothing exists there. So we need to tell it to use what to use for the first time it calls the function.
Like when we say let sum be 0, so let sum be like 12 for the first.
Yeah, so we could say 0. In this case, 0 is perfect. Okay. So far, reduce takes 2 parameters. One is a function, and one is the value to use the very first time. And then reduce has to return something, which we choose. And whatever it returns is the value that will be used in the next function for this, as this variable. So it will take the return and then give it to the next function. Does that make sense?
Please.
I have no idea.
Go ahead
Okay.
and
we'll see. Okay, I'll make it clear later, hopefully. The second thing it takes is the current value, like all the other ones. Person. So in this case, it's a person. That's, yeah. Okay. So if we want to sum all the ages, it would be very beneficial if this function would return the sum of all the previous indexes. So so the first time the function is called, this will be 0. What we would like to return is okay, sorry. We want to return the sum. Of the person's age. Okay. First, let's just see if this works, and then I will try to explain why it works, if it works. Okay, so now it didn't change because it still works. Okay. Right, yeah. So it took, actually, let's do something else. Let's make it super clear what's going on. So I'm gonna lock.
Accumulator is the one that is checked for every index. That's what it did.
no.
They go for
This one is every
first index,
Take
take the person age, then go for the second index, take the person age.
Let's lock them out. Okay. So the first time the function is called, the first parameter is 0, and the second parameter is this object here, right?
Yeah.
Then the function, can I?
So you don't need to call 0 on the reduce. You just have to call the function. Even though you have 2 parameters, you don't need to call 0 on the people reduce. You just call the function. Calling the 0.
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah, you will start anyway from the first.
So let me try to explain, and then you can ask
definitely.
again.
I mean, I'll try to understand.
So the first time we call, I'm just gonna. Yeah. Okay, let's just do it. Okay. reduce will call this function reduce total age 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay. The first time that reduce calls this function, it needs to give it. It gives it 2 parameters. The first time it will give it the first index, and then because it's the first time, we use this 0. The 0 is only used once, and the very first time, as we can see here. The first time it's called, it takes 0, which is accumulator, and then it gets a parameter called. I just realized I forgot to press record.
I've recorded.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it now.
You didn't record it?
What, sorry?
You didn't record it?
No, I have it here.
Okay.
Okay, you are recording. Okay, thanks God.
Why is it not full screen? What? Go away.
Yes, oh, so in other words, it's like doing creating a variable called let sum equals 0. That's what it's doing. So it's
Okay. So, number 1. The first time the function is called, it will take this 0 and it will take this index, like you can see here, 0 and Oliver. Then the function reduce will return the accumulator, which is 0 plus the person's age. So it will return 0 plus 12. And then the next time the function is called, this variable will be 12 because it was what was returned by the previous. Okay? And then the second parameter, person will be the next person, so it's Christopher. So now it's 12 plus Christopher's age. So 12 plus 17 is 29. So now the accumulator is 29 and the person is Benjamin, which is the next. So every time, so it's accumulator because it's like accumulating all the ages. Yeah, it's like summing them up as we go.
So basically it just shows the steps.
Yeah, so now we're showing, this is the steps. And then in the end, the very last time, it's returning, so out here we're looking total age. So once we hit the last index here, we're saying 154 plus 99, that's 253. And then this value, so now it's done. It just took the last index, so it says, okay, the total was 253. I'm gonna save that to this. So basically, the value of total age is the same as this one, accumulator. So once the function is done, it takes the accumulator and it says, okay, I'm done adding all the stuff. Here you go. And in this case, if we were adding stuff, you can do other stuff. You can do other things. Question. So you were asking a question before?
I was asking about the 0.
Yes.
How does it work if every time, because people that reduce go for every person. So every time you are calling the 0, no?
The 0 is only used the very first time. It's like the starting value.
Initial value.
Initial value. It's the initial value of the accumulator.
Oh, so is the reduced method parameter? That is standard.
This is a standard, yeah.
So the second one is the
starting point.
The input index.
The call range.
The first
It's not.
index.
Oh, it's not. No, it's not. It's not the index.
If you produce another number, it will be added to the
Yeah.
total age, right?
Let's put
Current
100.
index. Because it's in the
It's not the
Okay,
current index.
353.
No.
So right here I'm saying now instead of starting at 0, we're starting at 100.
So you have
What?
Whoa.
Yeah, what will this be?
that way like 100 and 12. So it will end up fairly, yeah.
So now it says the very first index that I'm receiving is 100 instead. So it's not the index of this, it's just like a starting value. Because the first time we call the function, it will not have the accumulator. Because it didn't call the function before. So it's like...
So it's like other like with the for when we call let sum equals 0. We gave 0 as a start
you
value.
can say that.
Okay, I got it.
So
of course that means you can put another function's value instead of like a number.
yeah, you can put anything here. If I put it,
So if you have like a previous function with a value, it will add these two functions together.
yeah, you can put anything. Like I don't know what happened.
What would happen if it was like a string hello, for example?
I think it will.
It will write hello first
Yes.
as a 0.
Yeah.
Then it will add numbers.
It will definitely say hello
Is-
here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will add numbers as a string
You just concatenate.
because you cannot
Concatenate it.
yes.
So what will be the output here?
And,
Hello and
equal.
hello and the string of numbers.
Yeah, so what would that be? What will the
Hello,
string be?
12.
12, 17,
Hello, 200 there.
15,
Like
67, and 9.
Hello, 12, 17, 43, 15, 69, 99.
Yeah.
Yes, because you cannot add numbers.
Only hello once, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because JavaScript is like a magic language. It doesn't care if it's like a string and a number. It's just like, maybe I'll just make it a string and then everything works. If you do this in like Java or other languages, like it will explode.
so when you put a string as a second parameter, it just treated everything as a string.
Yeah. Yes. So like once we add 12 to hello, then it says okay,
Hello,
it's
12
not a
as
number.
string.
Yeah. So now it's like a string that says hello 12, and then the next time it has a number and then hello 12 string, and then it makes it into a string again.
Does that mean the type of the second parameter affects the entire thing?
Yeah. Like in this case, it returned a string instead of a number. So yeah.
Oh,
So it's what?
Entity.
or no?
This is empty. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, of course, yeah. So it has reduce has a feature. If you don't put a parameter, it's gonna be like, oh, what do I do? Okay, I'm just gonna take instead of, since you didn't tell me which value to start with, it's just gonna be like, okay, I'll just start with this as the initial value, and then do this as the first parameter. So accumulator would be the first index, and person will be the second index,
So you're
which
missing-
basically means it skips number one.
You're missing the first one.
So I think this would probably, this is gonna be bad, because we're saying the first is an object, so it's gonna say this object plus 17. Yeah, let's see what happens. So the first parameter is an object, and then the second is the object number 2. No, and then
the sum object 17.
yeah. So now it's trying to add a number to an object.
So because this is string bar, I mean
So you need to give it an initial value.
Yeah, in this case you do. Because yeah, now it's like kind of skipping one.
The algorithm must contain 2 variables.
It must not. It must not. So let's say that we were using on a simple. Do we have? Okay. Let's say we were just doing it on an array of numbers. Then it would be completely fine. Because in that case, the first it would use would be 1, and the second that it would use would also be a number. Actually, Yeah, okay, let's do numbers, but then age does not exist on 2, so we're just going to do like this. So now, for the first parameter, it's 1 and 2, so it takes number 1 and number 2, and it's completely fine, you can add those together. So in this case, it actually works. Yeah. So this is like, you could say, in this case, we were lucky. So best practice is to put up the parameter, because then you're sure everything works as it's intended. But if it's just a simple case like this, where it's just numbers, then it works, because then it will say like, yeah, okay, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3, yeah, then it works. Does it make sense? Good start? Questions? Interesting. Okay. But reduce is good for other things too.
Like, it's not enough for your array of strings.
An array of strings? Yes, we can. If I can spell strings. Yeah, you want it bigger?
No, what is it here?
Okay. What would you like to do? Use this reduce total age function on these strings?
Yeah, we use the reduce
So it. Oh shit. And then again, we don't want like the age on the string because it doesn't exist. Okay. I'm gonna change the name of this so it doesn't say person, because person is very specific to the array. So we could call it current. Let's just call it current.
Name.
It's not a name. It is a name in this case, but like if we wanted to work for like every single one, what this actually returns is like the current index.
Current value.
Current value. You can call it current value. So. So now it will take. Oh, yeah. Now it will. Okay. Let's see.
I think you have to change the person here, the current value.
Oh, I forgot to change the one place, right?
Yeah. Okay. Just a wait.
I mean, with my last name.
Is this what you expected? Yeah. So the first parameter is going to be index 0, and then the second parameter is going to be this, and then we add them together, which gives Oliver Christopher, and then the current value will now be Benjamin, and then you add those three together, it's only going to be Oliver Christopher Benjamin. And so if we want to do this in a safe way, we would like to give it a parameter to start with. What should that be? Last time we did 0.
When we use the string, butter is angry with.
Okay, no, I want to make a point first, and then we can. Okay, so last time we used 0. Why did we use 0 last time?
Because it was the sum of numbers.
Because it was a number, yeah. Because we were trying to add numbers. So now we're trying to add strings. So what would be better?
But it will add 0. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, this will work. but it's like
Yeah, but it's just
it was
adding the
If
Oliver.
so now it's saying 0 plus the string Oliver is 0 Oliver,
yeah,
but we don't want that.
Teachers.
We just want an empty string. So the starting point now is just empty string.
I want something.
Oh right, oh you can see it here. There's like a little space here because it's saying empty string.
I put something in the empty string.
Okay,
Yeah,
what do we want to put
You
there?
can go backward, but
That's such a big part.
That's such a big heart. And that's the proof. We got the proof right there.
can you put the space between the Oliver, Christopher, and Benjamin?
After that, we got all the people, and then there is a plus. I still correct.
Okay, yeah. How do we do that?
How do you do that?
Can you, after current value, can you put a space between the Oliver, Christopher, and Benjamin? Yeah? No. Okay.
if you
What will you get from this?
I think it will be before the calculator.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
What happens if it's before the curriculum?
I was just curious.
Too many questions.
So now it's saying for the first time the function is called, it takes better loves here plus a space, and then we're saying, so this is the okay. All right.
I got this if you can.
I'm gonna zoom down one because now we have so much code. Okay. The first time the function is called, the value of this parameter will be better loves colon space, and then we're saying better loves colon space plus another space plus the current value, which is Oliver. So that's why it's like super huge here, because we put this extra space. Otherwise it would be and also after every other name there will be an extra space, because we're saying space before, space after, and then it keeps the space after, and then before that's a new one, and there's another space, and now it's like double spaces. Margins. Boom. You like that? It's good. Oh yeah, you said plus. We can put a plus here. Oh wait. Better loves Oliver plus Gustavo plus Benjamin. Juice is awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to ask you if you can instead instead of other loves, take it up and do strings. Take completely everything. Right, string, square bracket, 0.
I don't think that's a thing. What
You mean strings, right?
Yeah, but because we are working with that string.
Yeah, you're talking about accessing
sorry.
the first.
String
Sorry.
with that string.
Yes.
So we want this one?
Yeah.
First index.
So what to come back as an error?
That's the this again.
So this is more general. You will every time start from the first one, isn't it? You don't have to write Oliver.
No, because now you'll have double Oliver. Because
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Where's the
well,
space?
no,
So
wait a
otherwise,
second.
if you can do.
Yes, because you have the first one, and then afterwards it'll go through each element in the array because you have specified.
If we do strings that index of Oliver, The same thing. Maybe
Yeah.
just something.
Oh no, then it would return.
A number.
What?
Yeah.
What, sorry?
You're right.
Question. So how this
Is it like
function
this?
will understand I'm mentioning this array? Because
Yeah, then it's 0 again, right? Then we're back to this. Yeah. Okay. So if we like the behavior of taking the first index, like instead of writing all your through, just do this. Okay. Any more questions, or do you want to like see another example of how we can use reduce?
We'll have another example in the Reddit.
I've been loving too much. That's it.
Should we like take 5?
Yeah,
or, okay.
definitely.
Let's do 5 minutes break. Stand